Hello everyone, and I'm going to talk about refeeding syndrome today. What is refeeding syndrome? Refeeding syndrome is an adverse effect of the body to the reintroduction of adequate calories after prolonged periods of malnourishment. This is a result of rapid shift in fluids and electrolytes. So what that means is two things of concern, three things, is that when somebody been starving for a long time, if we refeed them too quickly, they'll have this fluids and electrolyte shift, and this can cause um, serious complications. So I will go on to talk about the mechanism behind this. So let's start with glucose. Obviously, because we're talking about food, so we need energy, and glucose is the main source of energy. So in the body, glycogen is a stored form of glucose, and then when we need it, it is converted to glucose, and then glucose can also get converted into pyruvate, and then the reverse can happen, and so this nice balance keeps our body maintain normally and function normally. Now, the conversion of glycogen into glucose happens in the liver when there is signals from glucagon. So the glucagon gives signals to the liver to release glucose from glycogen, so the body will have energy. And when all of this is happening, thiamine, which is vitamin B1, helps with the conversion. It's like a coenzyme, it's a catalyst, so it helps with these conversions. And thiamine comes from our main food, uh, and that's our main dietary source. Vitamin B is non-soluble, I mean soluble in water, so we don't really store it. We have to keep eating to get thiamine. And thiamine is also important for nerve function. So you can already see there, there could be a complication going on if something happens. Just a heads up. So when you are malnourished, what happens is you don't have energy, you don't get that glucose intake. So the body, what does is increases glucagon secretion from the pancreas, causing the liver to convert glycogen to glucose. Another thing is if you don't eat, you don't get thiamine. Like I said, we don't really store it in our body, so we get a depletion of thiamine from our food, not having enough food, and we get a usage of thiamine because we're using it to convert glycogen into glucose. So what does that mean? We get thiamine deficiency. And like I said, thiamine is important for nerve function. When you get thiamine deficiency, you get poor nerve function, and this can lead to what we call Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome. This Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome is actually two things. You got Wernicke's disease and Korsakoff syndrome. They're pretty much the same. Wernicke disease causes nerve damage, and that can be in the CNS or the PNS, or peripheral nervous system. Korsakoff syndrome also causes nerve damage and is also associated with memory problems. Okay, so when you're malnourished, obviously you don't have glucose, so the body don't produce insulin to uptake, which is what happens. You need glucose to be in circulation, so insulin doesn't get secreted. So let's start talking about refeeding. So when you refeed someone, give them food, that means you give them energy, give them glucose, so their glucose increases, and then it can also get converted into pyruvate. If you do this too quickly, too much glucose, and then some that get converted to pyruvate. And this conversion, like I said before, uses thiamine, and if we don't give them thiamine at the same time, then we'll have that whole cascade here, get thiamine deficiency, and then you get this Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome. And if you give them glucose, the body then too much, then the body starts secreting insulin. Okay, and now before I move on, what happens here? Let's talk about the other side of the story with the electrolytes. So in our body, there is phosphate, magnesium, and potassium. Oh, well, concerning refeeding syndrome, these are the three electrolytes. Phosphate is important for nerve function. Potassium is important cardiac rhythm. I'm not sure what magnesium used for. My research hasn't gone that far. So excess is then secreted, go to the kidney and get secreted. Some of that is reabsorbed just to maintain good range in our body back into circulation. So, so now let's go back to refeeding syndrome. When you have um, a lot of insulin produced, what it does is it shift all of these inside a cell. So phosphate, magnesium, potassium, shift them all inside a cell. And what does that mean? If you have, and if you shift all these magnesium inside, electrolytes inside a cell, you got this uh, osmosis action where water then follows them inside a cell. So if you get water retention inside a cell, guess what? You get edema. And then if it's edema is in the lung, then you get pulmonary edema. And so patient can feel hard to breathe and so on. And if you have a lot of electrolytes inside a cell, that leaves nothing outside a cell. So in the circulation, so you get extracellular depletion of electrolytes. Okay, and that's mean like the heart can't get it, so you get problem with cardiac rhythm, and such as arrhythmia, hypotension, cardiac arrest. And if there's not enough phosphate in circulation, then you can't get good nerve function, and then you get seizure and altered mental state. And that's pretty much it for the thing for refeeding syndrome.